presentes, se ven, se sienten, las trans están presentes, se ven, se sienten, las trans están presentes. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos en esta noche de recordación trans.
We're here in Queens with a group of activists who advocate for trans immigrants. In a bit, they're going to read off the names of all of the trans people who have been murdered this year.
This is Trans Day of Remembrance, which we usually refer to as TDOR, because that's what its initials spell. TDOR is what it sounds like, a day to remember trans folks who died over the past year. And it's what happens when people won't stop killing us.
A lot of the people that we love were taken away from our communities because of hate.
Hate?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard about that.
So we want to remember them.
Anybody died. Yeah. You know, some of these persons are one of my relatives.
The statistics on trans murders are exhausting. 2021 was the deadliest year on record, but so was the year before that. And the year before that was too. These stats can be kind of misleading. We only started officially tracking murders of trans folks in 2014, meaning none of these years that we've been counting our deaths might actually have been the most violent. It might have been way worse before, or maybe it was better and all of this visibility has put a target on our backs. Either way, keeping track of our deaths has become one of the duties of activists like these. You can imagine how that feels.
Ayer maravilla fui llorona y ahora ni sombra soy. Ayer maravilla fui llorona y ahora ni sombra soy.
Un mundo perfecto no estaríamos reunidos aquí para hablar sobre el impacto de la violencia en nuestras comunidades.
TDOR is not just for us. It's been happening since 1999 when activists organized marches around the killing of a woman near Boston named Rita Hester. Vigils like this one in Queens are dedicated to the year's victims of violence. But since the beginning, TDOR's also been about interrupting everyday life and getting cisgender people to think about the violence we face. This is just one event of maybe thousands across the country and the world. As our deaths seem to grow in number, so does the number of TDOR events. In New York City, there's even been a resolution proposed to make TDOR a citywide holiday. But when it's death you're facing, is that enough?
La ciudad en este momento quiere reconocer este día como día de recordatorio trans, pero lo que necesitamos de la ciudad es acceso a la vivienda, acceso a la salud, acceso, apoyo de inmigración. Lo que necesitamos es más apoyo de la ciudad.
These particular activists work for the nonprofit Make the Road New York, which advocates for immigrants. Mateo Guerrero Tabarez leads their special outreach program for trans people.
As a trans man, how does it feel to have to organize around TDOR in this way?
This week has been really hard for me as a trans man in the world. And I think what's the hardest thing is that year after year, the numbers of the recorded folks that have been taken away from our communities is longer and longer. But I think there are ways to channel those emotions and transform them into productive anger, to make them into action. The louder that we are, the more that people are forced to hear us. And the more that they're forced to grapple with how they need to show up.
So we're here in a pretty public place right now at this big plaza. Why did you all decide to have the vigil here?
Yeah, so Corona Plaza is a community space. There's people sending food, people selling gloves and stuff like that. And the reason why we're doing it here is because just in the past 5 years, we had about 34 cases of violence that came from this same community against trans community members. And what we want to say is we believe that our communities can transform and grow. We just need to invest in the education in these spaces. Yo sueño por un día en el que podamos existir, llegar a ya ser mayores, tener nietos y nietas, ¿verdad? Ser abuelitos trans y partir de este mundo, ¿verdad? En el momento que es, no cuando lo quiera la sociedad, sino cuando sea nuestro turno.
algunos nombres de nuestras compañeras que ya no están con nosotros.
Y muy cariñosamente, que luego de cada nombre gritemos presente.
Tania Alexander. Samuel Edmundo Damián Valentín. Dominic Jackson. Gina Frank.
Jenna was the protector in our family. If you ever needed anyone to vent to and take your side, she was the one to go to. She had dreams of helping those who walked along the same path she did, but someone took that away from her. She deserves justice and our family deserves answers.
Dominic was my aunt from my paternal grandfather. I would describe her as a diamond. She was always full of love and light and laughs, always in a happy, most positive mood.
As Alexis Braxton chosen mother, I really missed the energy that she brought into the room. She had a caring and loving spirit and a sense of family. Just not having that in our lives anymore is truly and deeply missed.
Alexis Braxton.
You know, there isn't actually anything good about today. Nobody should have to stand out in the cold and talk about these heavy topics and to literally get re-traumatized in the process. We shouldn't have to do this year after year. It's honestly a day that I dread, and I know that most other girls like me do too.
Julie, más para abajo, Julie, más para abajo, más para abajo, más para abajo.
Bueno, ahora le voy a decir que miremos a su mano derecha hacia la parte,
Ya, bájalo un poquito.
a mi mano izquierda y vamos a mostrar un panel drop que vamos a estar lanzando.
¿Ya está amarrado? Ok.
Después exigimos justicia.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. We're dropping a banner that says, we want ourselves alive. We don't want more murders. And we wrote it in Spanish so that people in this neighborhood can read that we don't want more trans people to be assaulted. You know, I've been a part of these streets for many years since I came to the United States, and I wish that I wouldn't have been afraid in the past of like expressing my gender. So my dream is for the future generations to be able to walk in Corona Plaza, in Jackson Heights, and not be afraid of the police, not be afraid of like expressing their gender in the most beautiful ways and just to exist, right? And so I think that this banner is important because it will plant the seed in people's head to like think about trans communities more often.